we're going to dive in deep.
Oh, yeah.
But one of the things I've realized recently is I was like, dude, it's futile to let your emotions get wrapped up in any of this. Not even like 1%.
Yeah, we're in.
Because like you said, it's like they're putting on a show.
Yeah.
So it's like when people let their emotions go all over the place because their favorite season ended or because their sports
Football
team lost.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing. And I already don't allow myself to get upset when sports teams lose or when a show stops being aired because it's ridiculous. Grow up. But at the end of the day, you need to be aware that as soon as you put your emotions onto something that's completely and utterly out of your control, you are another puppet that they just created.
Yeah.
What's funny is you nailed several of the points that I spoke with my dad earlier this morning. And he's in Brazil. So we were catching up and we were talking. I was asking him how things are going over there with the lockdown and everything. For the first time ever, almost all the countries are experiencing the same type of thing, which is like unheard of.
Right.
So I was checking in with them, catching up. And he asked me straight up back, what's going on with the election and everything, because it's like world news whenever United States election type stuff happens. Yeah, everybody's paying attention to it. And so my mom's American, so that obviously helps the fact that it makes sense for them to stay in the loop. Long story short, part of our conversation, it was exactly what you talked about, which is I feel like this is like the equivalent of like a WWE show. Yeah. Where it's just like, it's just this back and forth, and everybody involved is sort of just playing their little role. If they're like the side girl, if they're the main attraction, or if they're whatever. And it's just all this big, this big sort of fiasco where everybody's just getting a paycheck. Yeah, who's involved. Yeah. And there's a bunch of people watching it and going crazy and losing, like either cheering for it or, boo type of thing. That's exactly what we're witnessing now.
Yeah, although I feel like there's a number of people who actually like really care, who are, in the WWE arena, like thinking that this is real,
That's the point.
And most of the fans
That's the whole idea, is I really feel like comparing these two ideas to each other really makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, we're in.
Because the paradigm is almost like
that's
too real.
So funny. That's a great analogy. I love that.
And so you have people like you and I were like, yeah, WWE, fake as hell. And then you have some people like, oh, hell no, I got this guy, man, he's the crusher, you know what I'm saying? And like they're really for the person. Yeah. And you're thinking, you're kidding, right? But the person's for real.
Yeah. It's funny, even when I used to argue that WWE was real, I knew it was fake. Like back in middle school.
Yeah, there's no way. And anybody who understands anything about fighting, like it's physically impossible for these fights to play out the way that they do every time.
Yeah. But I mean,
it's ridiculous.
Like, the whole
this whole politics, same thing. These things, like, so going back to what you were saying in regards to the media, like completely and utterly going out of their way to either not talk about certain stories or completely and utterly just put the jet fuel on other stories and just take it to a whole new level. Yeah. That's the same spiel, I think, that's part of the whole show. It goes along with the actual system. It goes along with independent creators trying to cover the news as best as possible, but they're just regurgitating what the big news are saying. And so it's this big back and forth, and if you're not smart enough to understand that there's too many variables for one person to be that powerful, meaning Trump isn't calling on the shots.
Yeah, we're in.
Biden is not going to be calling on the shots.
Yeah, we're
None of these. There's too many factors to these decisions for one person to just come in and just start calling all the shots and change everybody's life. It's not going to happen like that. There's a democracy for a reason. These rules are implemented so a person can't do that.
Yeah, we're in.
And so when people go when they freak the fuck out, because Trump has been president for the last 4 years, and there's one thing that he said that they're just so not down with, and they literally are willing to snip friendships because of that specific topic.
Oh yeah,
we're talking lifelong friends who don't agree because of one topic.
Yeah, big thing this last year.
And so I mean, I guess on my end, what I've noticed is prior to 2020, 2019, that's when I started to really pay attention to what's going on. Prior to that, I was the type of person that was 100% what you just said before, which is focusing on yourself through and through, turning off the TV and not ever paying attention to any of that stuff, because I 100% believe that that's how you should live. If you're really trying to do any sort of damage on what you want to accomplish in life, you need to buckle down and focus. That being said, since we got to 2020, for the first time ever, I actually experienced people who were, people as in politicians, who were deciding certain rules that was directly affecting my life on the spot.
Yeah, right.
For the first time ever, that was actually happening. Before.
You mean what specifically?
So, for example, lockdowns of all kinds, and specifically different rules like curfews. Stay-at-home order. I mean, we can go down, but you know what I mean, those type of rules. So for the first time ever, these rules were directly impacting my life, just through and through. There was no way I could deny. Before, the new rules, like maybe your tax went up a little bit or whatever, it just never felt like any of it was, no matter who the president was, my life never actually felt like it changed. It just felt like it was, okay, new president, different president. My life is still rocking the same way I planned it for it to go.
Right.
And then this last year, I started to feel like, I was like, I don't know if I should feel this way or not, but they're making me feel like I should pay attention, because it feels shaky.
Yeah.
It feels super shaky. And so, like you said, it's sort of like picking the worst of both evils. But I started to assess it, and I was like, okay, walking in with a blank slate, meaning I don't have a side type of thing. I have not voted before. I'm like, all right, I have been shown and told to hate Trump beyond belief, without any recognition, without giving him even a second chance.
Yeah.
If I'm going by what the people around me, especially here in Seattle, have all said, basically the dude is an absolute, he's monster. Evil. He's evil. We're talking Hitler type evil.
Yeah, right.
And that's the part where it started to trigger my curiosity, because I was like, okay, I've known about this guy since like the Apprentice days. We had a show, right? Money, 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 money. And so I was like, all right. So I know he has sort of like an off personality. Like people are just kind of like that. They love him, they hate him type of thing. Yeah. But for you to compare him to Hitler and some of these other ones, I was like, I have to at least assess what you're trying to say here, because it's a pretty big statement. Yeah, right. I mean, this person literally killed an entire generation of a group of people. Yeah. And so you start to assess, and you start to watch some of these interviews and go through the stuff and see some of the interviews that you talked about with like Fox or whatever, and all the other news stations. And you're like, okay, the dude might not be the best, but he's not Hitler.
He's not super evil, yeah.
He's not Hitler. And so you start to be like, okay, I see that there is some, not even for the media, but the media starts it, but from the regular people talking to each other, I was like, it seems like people are just sort of jumping the gun to pick these really nasty names and just sort of throw them on people. Yeah. Without any real truth behind that statement to that person and putting that together.
Word, yeah.
All right, thanks for watching this clip from Appropriate Culture. If you want to watch the full episode, go ahead and check out us at appropriateculture.com. You can also check us out on social media platforms at Appropriate Culture. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one.